Dear Orchard Archivers, this week we're continuing our Carmelicious discussion and talking about more intergalactic memories and highlights on Star Wars Part 2 and how it effortlessly grabbed the rapt attention of many a moviegoer back then. And no surprise, it's still undeniably commanding attention in present day. So without further ado, let's board the pod and head back to Star Wars Part 2. Here this week on the Retro Orchard, we're so excited to be picking back up on the continuation of Part 2 of Star Wars, where we'll be again talking about the many fascinating characters, the laser-tastic retro highlights of a saga this magnitude. Don't forget to subscribe and tag us on social media. Look for Caramel Apples.
That's right.
And now, here's Part 2.
These were also made into toys that we happily played with, but promised to our guy squad we didn't break anything. They were such buzzkills, I don't even know. They should have been glad we were up there playing with them.
I know.
But anyway, it was already like that when we did break it.
Right.
Mum's the word. We're evil caramel apples.
That's right. And how popular these movies are. And, you know, they have stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a moth to a flame with pop culture.
Yeah.
For example, Jake and Silent Bob Strikes Back. You know, they were granted permission to use the Empire Strikes Back logo and has many, many references of the Star Wars films, being that they were fanboys themselves of this masterpiece.
That's a big deal, getting to use that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a very touchy thing when you're in the digital realm.
Exactly. And I believe Mark Hamill also made an appearance in this film.
No kidding.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's sweet. Between Luke and Solo's heavy involvement now with the rebellion, feelings between Han and Leia, in close quarters, are certainly warming up from the cool interaction from A New Hope. But they still play hard to get and irritate each other. I like that, though.
Uh-huh.
Don't be predictable.
Right.
You know, keep that bait moving, keep that string, keep tugging on it.
Exactly.
So Han's incessant pet name for Leia quite annoys her, but she rolls with it. See what we women have to put up with? Goodness. Your worship, your worshipfulness, your highness, and the constant back and forth leads to one of the most iconic mudslinging insults. Han to Leia. Well, your worship, looks like you managed to keep me around a little while longer. Leia. I had nothing to do with it. General Reichian thinks it's dangerous for any ships to leave the systems until we can activate the energy field. Han. It's a good story. I think you just can't bear to let a gorgeous guy like me out of your sight. Leia. I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
I think you just can't bear to let a is going on your side. I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Chewie just did what we did last. Hilarious, isn't it?
Right.
Han to Chewie. Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Sounds like us with our cats. But you didn't see us alone in the South Passage. She expressed her true feelings for me. Leia. My? Why you stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking Nerf Herder? Han. Who's scruffy-looking? Oh my god, that is iconic.
It is.
Han and Leia to be continued. And things weren't going too well for the Empire either. Vader isn't happy with his crew. According to Vader, Admiral Ozol is clumsy as he's stupid for coming out of light speed to close to the Hoth system and proceeds to tell him. Vader, you have failed me for the last time, Admiral. He then begins his invisible death grip on the poor Admiral, who falls to the floor and expires as Vader promotes the next Admiral. Brutal. Whose apparent first order of business is to remove the former Admiral at his feet. Me thinks I'd pass on this promotion.
Right.
That's brutal.
Yes, Vader in that death grip, I'm telling you. He doesn't have to be right next to you. He can do it anywhere.
How many parents did this to their kids?
Right. So, too bad. Accept or pass on that promotion. You'll likely meet the same end as Admiral Ozol.
Okay.
Darth Vader is one boss to avoid at all costs.
Agreed.
So here's a fun fact. General Veers, inside one of the AT-AT walkers, played by Julian Glover, also stars opposite Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, as the bad guy Donovan.
We also see for the first time Yoda, voiced by Frank Oz.
You do nothing that I say. Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned. Skywalker, missed you have I.
And Lando Calrissian, which was Billy D. Williams, and the first appearance of the Emperor.
On and on, the action rolls, it does.
I see what you did there,
Oh, wow, good. I was hoping it came through.
Of course, always.
It's interesting that with the introduction of Jedi Master Yoda, things are going awry shortly after Luke and R2 land on Dagobah. They're in a swamp. R2 almost gets eaten.
Poor bug.
I know. Luke is starting to regret coming. And then this little green guy shows up and starts rifling through Luke's things, throwing things out and fingering Luke's food. Certainly putting Luke in a mood. Who proceeds to pout and sigh. Then R2 also tries to get Luke's lamp away from Yoda. Luke winds up insulting Yoda's home, calling it a slimy mud hole.
Oh, them fighting words.
Yoda says, "Mud hole? Slimy? My home this is." R2 and Yoda engage in a back and forth over the lamp, and finally Luke sighs and reprimands R2. But Yoda changes his tune when he finds out Luke is searching for the Jedi Master.
Needless to say, some major climactic events are afoot, and they may surprise the viewers.
With the Puppet Master Emperor making his first sinister on-screen appearance at around 53:21, things are really ramping up.
Boy, that's nice and precise right there. Yes, it's interesting because up to this point, you really only see Darth as the one calling the shots, as most Colonel Mustards do.
Right.
But now we begin to see him more in a submissive role, uncharacteristic of what we know of Lord Vader.
Exactly. So this is true. And now with the introduction of Palpatine, he's able to bring more components into the story leading viewers to believe that, yes, indeed, Luke Skywalker is the son of Anakin Skywalker. Oh, we already believe that Vader has something to do with his death, but we have no idea the reality of Darth Vader's true identity. Emperor gives the green light to prevent Luke in becoming a Jedi, thus keeping him in power.
Okay.
But as any awesome plot should provide, the question of what is going on behind the scenes. Why would Darth Vader have such a profound connection as to knowing Luke is Anakin's son? We need to know more about the relationship between Vader and Anakin.
We do. So Luke's options are join us or die. My gosh, that's bleak.
Right?
Tell us how you really feel.
Right? Come on. Is there an option 3?
No pressure. Yeah, high pressure sales.
Exactly. We will. As so many characters, including Luke, have stated, I have a bad feeling about this.
Oh, yes, with them high pressure sales.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, you and me both.
But yeah, for the current crew of the Millennium Falcon, that would be an understatement when they discover they are inside the Exogarth, a giant space slug. Ooh, and yikes.
Well, knowing how you feel about snakes,
That's right.
I'm sure you would also pass on the Ninja Warrior gauntlet that Yoda is training Skywalker on. Yeah, because snakes crawling all over Dagobah. Literally everything and everywhere, including Yoda's table.
Ugh, oh my goodness. Could have done without that.
Right.
Yeah, Darth would not be my issue. But cue up an unforgettable scene. This is the first time we see Luke and Lord Vader face off with lightsaber.
Oh boy, cheering fans aplenty.
That's right.
And after the scene, we quickly find out that the duel was only an exercise, but definitely had a purpose.
Well, Luke's impulsiveness is leading him out to face realities he's not yet prepared for. Even though he's advised against going before completing his training, he leaves anyway. Heading straight for the trap set for him like a moth to a flame.
Headstrong. It's quite notable and all, but he's definitely not ready. And with Vader and the Empire altering, deals left and right, no one knows what they are capable of and just how quickly things can shift. Lando Calrissian can speak from experience as the proverbial news tightens on him. Money shot coming up next. The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet.
Oh, okay. Probably one of the most epic moments in all 3 films is Luke's discovery of what really happened to his father.
Yeah, he loses his hand, but gains so much in the way of knowledge about his life. Not to mention balancing on not so much more than a beam suspended in midair. Looks like Vader may be right. There's no escape.
There's no escape.
Then the sinister plot thickens. Join forces. Defeat the Emperor? What is old Vader up to?
Yeah! With that being said, Return of the Jedi, directed by Richard Marquand, certainly does not disappoint because all of the major players from 4 to 6 mentioned we finally see. So the official synopsis for Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker battles horrible Jabba the Hutt, as our cats, and cruel Darth Vader to save his comrades in the Rebel Alliance and triumph over the Galactic Empire. Han Solo and Princess Leia reaffirm their love and team with Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, the Ewoks, and the androids C-3PO and R2-D2 to aid in the disruption of the dark side and the defeat of the evil Emperor, aka Darth Sidious.
So it's really interesting that throughout the original trilogy, we hear whispers of the Emperor, or we see holograms of him but don't fully see him on screen in person until Return of the Jedi. And he makes his appearance at the new Death Star, which is behind schedule in his estimation. Oh boy. So one major reason for his visit. He's none too happy. The current crew have much to worry about, but more on that later. We just saw Leia stayed on a hospital ship with Luke while having his hand repaired. And Lando, in command of the Millennium Falcon, with Chewie at his side, set out to find and retrieve Han.
I'll meet you at the rendezvous point on Tatooine. Famous last words.
Yeah. Oh, Chewie finds himself in cuffs again by a bounty hunter, no less. And has he really been captured? We wonder as the audience, don't we?
Yeah.
And this is certainly not how we had hoped to see him reunite with Carbonite Han. Also, 3PO and R2 are here in Jabba's palace, given as a gift from Luke. What is going on? At this point, we can certainly think that the tide has turned against our heroes. But looking closer, there seems to be a slightly familiar face. But he's not always trustworthy.
Yes, you must be talking about Lando, who is also there in Jabba's palace, but in disguise. But where's Skywalker and Leia?
Good questions.
Well, the bounty hunter soon frees Han of the carbonite and discloses to him his location and who she is.
Yes. Answer Han's question, who are you? Leia, someone who loves you. And she plants a big smooch on it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. What's the saying? Absent makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, she's forgotten all about the irritating habits of old Nerf Herder Han. A true love.
But just when you think the rescue is a success, we soon learn it was a trap.
Oh no.
Yeah, now what? In the words of 3PO, we're doomed.
Wake up! Wake up! We're doomed.
Let's hope not. Yes, let's not lose hope just yet. Han is thrust in a cell with Chewbacca, who informs Han that Skywalker is now a Jedi. Han is still quite disoriented, but happy to be alive and now in a cell with his mate Chewbacca. No doubt beginning to plot their escape.
Love the next scene. Okay. Enter hooded, cloaked Jedi Knight in training, Skywalker.
Okay.
Farm boy no longer.
All right.
He's long, long gone. You will take me to Jabba now. Leia is also in chains and dressed to be, entertainment for the slobbering Jabba. He's a mess now. Just wait till Leia gets through with him. But first, much action ensues. Skywalker finds himself face to face with Jabba's pet Rancor, which is always waiting beneath the trapdoor to feed on anyone who displeases Jabba.
This cannot be the end of Luke's journey, but the action definitely keep the viewer questioning how will he escape.
Yes.
Bone and Rancor, Jaw's crushing mouth, lightsaber, or perhaps the door he spots underneath the monster. Well, the logical choice turns out not to be the best option after all.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But he does end up besting the creature for good, as only a Jedi could, which infuriates Jabba.
So with the ire of Jabba on their heels and around Leia's neck, pun intended,
Exactly.
our rebel friends soon find they're headed out to the Dune Sea to be slowly digesting for 1,000 years.
Oh my God.
That's some heavy meat. I'm just kidding. So apparently the quote-unquote immediate termination was just about them being taken away. Nothing to do with the digestion process. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're taking you swiftly so that you can die slowly. Okay, we got it. So many players not to be trifled with.
That's right.
So Han has a few choice words for him, that being Jabba though.
Okay.
3PO, you tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth, he'll get no such pleasure from us. Right? Luke, confident and defiant, pipes up, Jabba, this is your last chance. Free us or die.
The plan is coming together. R2 launches Skywalker's lightsaber over to him on the planked over ship. Wielded lightsaber sends many people over the edge and down the hatch. Meanwhile, Baba jettisons...
Boba.
Whoops! Meanwhile, Boba jettisons... Is that it? Boba? Okay. Over and pulls his blaster out, which Luke quickly makes light work out of cutting it off at the end. Han helps Boba off the ship and down the hatch as well.
Leia puts Jabba out of his slimy misery.
About time.
Yeah, so she made light work out of him. So with so much action, needless to say, the sole survivors of this is our rebel friends.
Okay.
They're back on course.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Remember how we mentioned the Emperor's presence? Well, the Royal Red Guard, the Crimson Guard,
They're cool.
they are, have arrived on the Death Star, and now we see Emperor Palpatine.
He's definitely has one thing on his mind. Convert Skywalker.
Okay.
But that goal is a long way off, and Luke is getting the deets from Yoda. Jedi Knight, not yet, must confront Vader. So we've already mentioned a bit ago about merchandise.
That's right.
So with this installment, the Ewoks, they were a game changer for marketing.
I remember this, yes.
Yes. And Kenner also made the plush toys of these little furry warriors. Now, I believe you can still find some original plushies with a little internet combing. But for now, our friends find themselves hoisted up in a net on a moon of Endor. And the Ewoks have and displayed massive respect for C-3PO, which is very helpful as their time together progresses. Cute and cuddly they may be, but they seem to have barbecue on their minds. But finally, convinced to release them, it's a complete turnabout face, and they welcome them into the tribe. How lovely.
How lovely.
Better than the alternative, being eaten.
Completely. That's a 10-4. But I think the fans are actually split on the Ewoks being part of the story. Some feeling they were just a marketing move for the movies. But of course, there's always going to be opinions on any given subject. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
We're not siding either way, just stating what is indeed the Star Wars universe.
Exactly. You know, Leia's about to learn some heavy news about herself. And Han grapples with his jealousy regarding the bond between Leia and Luke.
Gotta get a little bit of that in there.
And Luke sets out to surrender to Vader in hopes to appeal to his good side. Is there such a thing? And serve as a decoy for the rebellion.
This is the point of no return. Things can easily go sideways if he's not ready.
Yeah, talk about going off the rails, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luke to the Emperor. Your confidence is your weakness. The Emperor. Your faith in your friends is yours. This is the build-up. The calm before the storm. The Emperor unloads a lot of information on poor Skywalker, but there seems to be a slight twitch in Vader. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Well, as we've stated before, this trilogy is ripe with conflict and self-discovery, which lends to why it was such a huge, huge hit.
And let's not forget about the action.
Oh, yes. Not to mention the action. So, speaking of the fandom, oh my goodness. There's just so many fans out there, and they truly span the globe.
Yeah.
There's just some stories that really touch and connect with the particular fan base. And you'll know who the fan club is and in gatherings and such, usually the base has a nickname of sorts that once you hear it, you'll know exactly what drives them.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is that type of realm. So some examples are, you have Trekkies, you have Ringers, you have Potheaders, Potterheads.
That's right, true.
Twilighters, or Vampires, I believe.
All right.
So, any idea what avid fans of Star Wars are called? Fun fact, Star Wars fans.
Really? Oh my goodness, that's flat. That makes sense though, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, they just didn't work on that one very well.
I know. So we Star Wars fans are into meet and greets, Star Wars celebrations. Speaking of which, last year's took place in London, England, and the next one will be in April of 2025 in Tokyo, Japan.
Coming up soon.
Yes. Composer John Williams has even attended these events, and he performed for those who were in attendance.
That would have been epic.
Right?
Oh, his music, his compositions they're second to none.
Oh, yeah. He's a master of his craft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And many, many stars associated with these beloved stories have attended as well. Like, Carrie Fisher, she had been there, Katie Baker, Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, etc.
All right. So from pop culture references to music groups called the Nerf Herders. That is so rotten.
It is.
Now that's the next level fandom.
Right.
What is a Nerf Herder, by the way?
Well, according to the Wikipedia...
Oh, that's rad right there. That is nuts.
Yeah, the fandom is real, isn't it, Kiddage?
Yeah.
So, as intended by Leia to Han, it is a slur of sorts. Because it's an occupation for lower class beings. And Nerfs, they kind of resemble buffalo, bullish, cows type animals, maybe.
Okay, but like Solo, the Nerf Herders are not ashamed at all. They wear that proud. In fact, they wear their name as a badge of honor.
Right? I mean, here they picked it as their name for their group. So it's like, they're like, we're the Nerf Herders.
Leia's like, one for me.
Right. Love it. Yeah. I think I even read somewhere that the 80s phenom, Billy Ocean, was a fan of Star Wars as well. And that, his song Loverboy, the video for that, was kind of based loosely on the cantina scene from Tatooine.
No kidding.
Yeah, or affectionately known by Luke as this rock.
Yeah, and Dagobah was a slimy mudhole.
Look at his name calling these planets.
Oh, that's pretty cool about Loverboy, though. That's your favorite of his, right?
Yes.
Of Billy Ocean?
That is my favorite of his.
All right.
I wonder why. It makes sense, right?
Right.
So back to these gatherings. Of course, not every fan can make it, to in-person fan celebrations. But something a lot of us can afford to attend is like a re-release in theaters for like a limited time. So you got to be just Johnny on the spot with timing. Mm-hmm. But if you can get there, get there.
That's right.
So hopefully you can catch the re-release for the 25th anniversary of Episode 1, Phantom Menace, within the next few days here of May.
Oh.
So I totally remember 25 years ago taking the day off work, took the baby brother, took his best friend who was like a little brother, so took the little brothers to this movie to see it opening day.
I remember that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy how time flies. How has it already been 25 years?
That's insane.
It's crazy, right?
It is, because we're only 21.
Right. How are we managing this math?
Like Chris Farley. This is a mystery.
It is indeed. But I also remember we hit up episode 2 and 3 on opening days as well.
Awesome.
Which was so cool. And it was the same group, the same 4 of us.
That's right.
But always keep your eyes peeled for these opportunities. And don't forget, May 4th, 2024 is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
Slow standing clap. All right. So speaking of these awesome celebrations, we have to mention which characters are seen in cosplay. Now, who would you guess as the most popular?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I would have to say from research, Darth Vader comes out on top.
Mm-hmm.
And in the words of Lord Vader, too easy, impressive, most impressive. But also coming in hot on this list is Obi-Wan, Chewbacca, Boba Fett, and of course Han and Luke.
Okay.
And I bet one sees a stormtrooper or 200 as well.
Be hard not to, yeah.
Right?
Well, as we're wrapping the season finale up in an Imperial bow, we want to take the opportunity to share some of the actors who found their way into the prequels and sequels. So we have Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith introduction into the Skywalker parents, Queen Padme Amidala, which was Natalie Portman, Mace Windu, which was Samuel L. Jackson, another hot mess.
Yes.
Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson. I got it. Okay. Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson. Young Obi-Wan, that was Ewan McGregor. Anakin J. Lloyd, which was Hayden Christensen. Count Dooku, Christopher Lee. Senator Chancellor Palpatine, Ian McDiarmid. And we get to know the history of Anakin with introduction into his family in one Darth Maul.
He was a bad motor scooter, too. He was pretty cool. So it is insane that there was a time when Padawan, Jedi, lightsaber, etc. weren't even a thing. They weren't in vocabulary. Like, nobody had conversations about that.
Yes.
But now they can be part of an everyday conversation.
That's nuts.
Yes. Star Wars bred a culture that has stood the test of time. And every day, more and more people get introduced to and enamored by this story. Mm-hmm. There's tons of action, fantasy, self-discovery, comedy, even a love story. And let's not forget mystery and intrigue. Emperor, we're looking at you.
Yes, there's something for everyone. Hope we convinced you to rewatch them, even if you watched it yesterday. And if this would be your initial viewing, we know you will become one with the Force.
Our Star Wars season finale is now complete.
Say it's not so! So that's it for this week's discussion, but that's not all. Stay tuned and we'll continue our retro treks on several of the main characters that comprise the Star Wars franchise. You won't want to miss this. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss a beat, and we'll be ready to revisit more memorable fun archives and better times right here at the Sweet Spot. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.